Chairman, and thank you very much. I was in the Dáil as you were told. I heard you're keeping a good eye on me. But no, I won't bring up a lot of the questions that were brought up. In fairness, it is an interesting subject, and I think in rural Ireland, I think a lot of the farmers are very protective of the hedgerows, and have been over the years. The problem is, you see, you have hedgerows in the farm, but you also have hedgerows on the side of the road. And I'd like Pre to elaborate on how do you feel about the hedgerows and the verges, as we call them, that are not cut. And unfortunately, rural Ireland, I completely understand that there's certain times of the year that filling and everything like that shouldn't take place, but there is situations in rural Ireland, the rural communities, that you have hedgerows growing out onto merely the middle of the road. In the middle of summer, causing accidents and people, bicycles being hurt and whatever. And I think that there should be a separation between one and the other. I think that's a very important issue, and it may have been brought up while I was in the Dáil speaking. Another thing is that, look, the burning, and I think we didn't. Somebody had brought up this earlier. I totally opposed to this out of control burning that goes on out there, but there is a control burn, and I think we should be very supportive of a control burn. And I know that IFAs and the ICSA and all them came together there with the guards, and they were basically training farmers on a control burn, and I think we should encourage that in specific areas where it's needed at specific times. And sometimes you can't burn within the season because the season is damp and wet, so it puts farmers in a very difficult position. And like a previous speaker spoke, I just hope that any of the plans that you have there, that you can work with farmers. The problem the farmers have at the moment is dictation. The problem is that this country is turning a lot like that. They're being dictated to. And they have more serious worries, that there's further regulations coming before them. So I hope that we can, a lot of what she said is great, and I have no objection against it. Hedgerows and all that, and my own farm, we do the same. Protection is on that farm is very important, of the hedgerows. But I hope that there is more progressive farmers out there that we depend on in this country, and that they are going to be protected here and brought along and not dictated as such. And yes, grant aid and stuff like that is a great way to encourage farmers, but I hope that there's no policy out there that's going to dictate too hard on farmers, because it turns them, it puts a whole different light on all this. But the verges on the side of the road where the hedgerows are growing, I'd like to for people's comments on that, or free comments on that. I'm sorry I didn't welcome the witnesses here today, so I welcome all the witnesses as well. Thank you.
Thank you for that. In relation to the roadways and so forth, I think we already covered that, and there's no problem. I mean, local authorities already have rules in relation to boundary hedges along roadways. So I think it's the responsibility of the farmer, from the point of view of local authorities, that he makes sure that his hedgerows and so forth don't encroach on roads or are not a danger to motorists and so forth. As far as farmers in general are concerned, yeah, there's no discrepancy between what we're asking for here and what farmers are doing, in relation to hedgerows. We see a win-win situation where we can help farmers to appreciate their hedges even more than they do at present. We see an incentivised scheme whereby farmers could avail of funds to retain their hedgerows and to improve them. So there would be no difficulty in that sphere.
Okay. Sorry, Brian.
There was a few questions. I don't know if they want to come briefly.
I suppose it's just, thank you, Deputy Collins. I mean, just picking up the point that you made about progressive farming, and I think probably what the discussion this evening has shown is that it's now understood that what was previously good farming in terms of taking out the hedgerows is now seen as questionable, in fact, not good practice. So that, I think, as you've no doubt heard this evening, we're very much, farmer-led. Our group has high farmer representation, and we strongly believe that the retention of hedgerows, good quality hedgerows, represents good progressive farming going forward.
Okay. we're after going a good bit over time, so we have to be fair to the next set of witnesses. I just say, you know, I think it has been a very good session, and very informative. And I think, you know, from my point of view as a farmer, farmers, you know, what farmers want is to get full credit and recognition for the hedgerows that they have. And I think if there's a parameter there for measuring and awarding farmers for them, you will see that farmers will buy into this policy of hedgerows. And I think, to Senator Daly said, we have a different landscape to continental Europe, completely different. And it's something that is annoying farmers at the moment, in that they're not getting the recognition for the hedgerows that's on their farm and the sequestration of carbon that's there. So I think anything we can do on that front, I think, you know, is mutually beneficial, as you laid out, for farming and for the environment. And, you know, farmers are the custodians, and farmers want to look after their farms and want to look after the environment. But I think we have a ways to go yet to get the recognition for farmers of what hedgerows are doing for the environment.